It's funny. It's funny you mentioned Rogan. I think because I've known Rogan for a long time. Well, I've seen him do stand-up for a long time. I think he's an underrated comic. His latest stuff isn't great because in order to do stand-up at a high level, you need to focus on doing stand-up. And so his focus is in other places. And also, if you're always on stage in front of people who are just happy to see you, you never get a real good judge of what's funny.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That's why I often think people's first and second specials are their best, because that's when they're doing it in front of crowds who don't know who the fuck they are. And that's where they cut their teeth on that material, right? But you get to a certain level. Like, I think Rogan is an underrated comic, but an overrated intellect, is what I think. I think if he just did stand-up again, some of his early specials are fucking really funny. Really funny. I also think he's not as smart as he thinks he is.
I don't know if I'm going early enough, but like 2 specials ago, I thought Rogan did a great job, a super great job. I'm about 2 specials ago, I forget. And at the time, his podcast was firing and his UFC gig was firing. And it was like, his fame is crazy. Like, he's an A-list celebrity.
Yeah.
Right there with like Tom Cruise, in my opinion, in terms of fame.
Yep.
Where he is now is a different place. His comedy has been... His last special, I can't say enough harsh things about. It was an embarrassment. And the whole like don't assume my gender bullshit, like that is, you get better material at the office water cooler.
It's a bit
than Joe Rogan has in his stand-up special.
Here's the thing. It's because he doesn't have to put the same, he's at his club doing stand-up in front of people who are going to laugh at whatever he says. Mm-hmm. And when he goes to the green room, all those dudes are sucking his dick and telling him how funny he is. And so it's hard to judge. But I think, dude, if he just focused on stand-up again, his early specials are funny as fuck.
I've not even had 1% of Joe Rogan's, attention. But I have had enough experience that, like, everyone thinks the harsh comments ruin a person. And that can be true, right? They're really hurtful. They can put people in depression, etc. But the praise can fuck you up too. The praise can make you think everything you say is profound. The praise can make you think that you're smarter than who you are. And I can only imagine what it's like to be Joe Rogan with his level of both attack and praise, making him think he's a genius that some people don't appreciate, or whatever it is that he thinks. It can warp a guy.
I don't think there's any doubt. How do you walk around and everyone's dick riding? And how do you just not take some of that in and be like, well, I guess I am the best?
Right. I want to see him do a new thing. I want to see him do like a whole different kind of thing. I want him to have like a primetime show or something. I would watch him in a sitcom. I would watch him host I would love to watch him host a reality show. I want him to do trivia, and every time you get a question wrong, he spin kicks you. Like, I want him to do
hilarious.
Like, if they brought him back for Fear
they could
Factor,
call it one and done.
If they brought him back to host Fear Factor again, I'd watch the shit out of that. Like,
well, what was the sitcom he was on with Spain?
News Radio.
News Radio.
Never seen a second of it.
What?
No,
I've never seen News Radio.
I liked it, and I like Joe Rogan in it.
Yeah.
Every so often, Joe Rogan would take his shirt off on that show.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware he was a sleeper fitness dude. Like, he was fit.
But that cast is crazy good.
Andy Dick
Phil
is
Hartman,
on it, right?
Andy Dick, Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman, one of my fucking all-time favorites.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Troy McClure, Lionel Hutz, 2 of the funniest characters that have ever been.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
With a gun?
She killed him in his sleep. But I mean, I don't know who has voiced 2 collectively funnier characters than Troy McClure and Lionel Hutz, like from The Simpsons. Like there's no one close. He was hilarious.
What characters did they voice?
You don't remember? Have you not seen like old Simpsons where Lionel Hutz was the one who was like the scammy attorney, where and then the other Troy McClure was like, hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may have seen me in such other info shows. It's like, and then he'd be like giving a ridiculous speech about like nuclear plant safety, and they always had funny names for it. That was great. On the stand-up thing with like Rogan, not specific to him. I've never really seen much Rogan stand-up, and I don't I only listen to his podcast on very rare occasion. Really, just when he has like Shane Gillis and that whole gang on, I'll listen to those because that's funny. It's like good riffing.
Josh, I had a comedian question.
Yeah.
All right. So imagine this. There's 12 established comedians at a table. They're all hanging out. But subconsciously, you're all doing like a stack ranking of like, who's the alpha at this table? Who's whatever. Who stack ranks higher? Is it the comedian who's done really well financially and is sort of like just killing it in that regard? Or the one that you guys all know is fucking hilarious, but just hasn't been recognized by Netflix in the same way?
Well, I think it completely depends on who's at the table.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right.
I intentionally left out names. I didn't want you to have to talk about friends.
Because there would be, if you asked some people, because if we all know comics who aren't successful. So if there's zero level of success, they aren't going to be at the top of the heap. But I would say, and, is it a table full of dick riders who want Kevin Hart to put him in the next movie? Mm-hmm, or is it a table of other people with a modicum of success also?
It's that guy. Mm-hmm. It's that, right? So everyone here is making a living off comedy.
Then it's who's funny.
Better than an average, salary, right? They're doing better than some whatever bookkeeper.
The super wealthy, influential dude. I'm just using Kevin as an example.
Yeah,
right.
He's got to get some attention because people are going to want to see if he can help them. But if you're talking about 12 successful people, I think the person who's the funniest is going to get the most play at that table.
That's what I hope the answer was.
Yeah, I really do. I mean, again, if it's people who haven't had any success, they're going to kind of gravitate towards who can help them.
Yeah. I was like a huge Opie and Anthony fan back in the day. I still go back and listen, but they would always talk about having like tables at the Comedy Cellar at the back where people are waiting to go up. And because of the show, like Jim Norton and a number of the guys they had on were way bigger commercially than like a Colin Quinn. But every time they would talk about it, it was like everyone was like trying to earn Colin's approval because they all saw him as like, man, Colin. Oh, I got Colin laughing. Okay,
I'll give you a good example. If all of those, say you took the 11 highest grossing comics and Neil McDonald was still alive, people would want to know. They would want to talk to him.
Yeah,
there's a certain reverence for guys like that,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And he wasn't
Patrice O'Neill is the one that comes to mind for me.
My favorite comic of all time.
He's great.
Lot of comics have him near the top of their list. They have a ton of
He and Norm are in my top 5 for sure.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald, man. So for me, Norm, called him Neil. I don't know why. Norm Macdonald is like an anomaly and a guy who can consistently make other comics laugh. And all that means is that nobody can see their joke. Their jokes are so good, nobody sees them coming. One of the reasons you don't make comics laugh is because we're dissecting jokes as you're telling them. Or do you know what I mean? Or you kind of can see where a joke is going. And that was not Norm at all. And he was like, his joke writing was so, and his cadence, all of it added into making him so different than everybody else,
Yeah, his cadence was very novel. You didn't get that from any other comedian working.
Brody Stevens, too. I don't know if you ever heard of Brody Stevens.
I have.
Brody committed suicide 2019, maybe.
Oh, I recognize him.
But they did like a memorial service for him at the Comedy Store. You've never seen more comics. You've just never seen more comics in one place because he was... you can tell who comics want to see because they're in the back of the room when they're on stage. But most of the time when comics are on stage, there are no comics in there watching. We don't want to watch fucking stand-up. Mm-hmm. But Brody would get on stage. He was so different. I started with him. And Joey Diaz is like this too. But Brody was so different. One time he got on stage and he would snap, which was when he was funniest. And he was bombing. And he goes, guys, I don't think you understand how difficult it is. He goes, do you know how hard it is? I'm anxious. Do you know how hard it is to be a man who lives alone and try to shave his own back? And he lifted up his shirt, and there was just splotches. You could see where the razor lines went. it was like, but when he would do sets, so he would either crush or die. But if you got in his cadence, there was one set where I saw him, he talked about his GPA at ASU. And he was just reading off of his transcript.
And but it worked?
Yeah. There was something about it. He eventually got you into his cadence. If you like Don Rickles.
He was great. He was hilarious.
If you watch Don Rickles, one of the things, you almost start, if you see him for more than like 15 minutes, you almost start laughing before the punchline because he has you in his rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
You're anticipating this is where the joke comes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there are guys like that who are fucking really special and different.
I heard Bill Burr tell a story, and today it was a YouTube short. And this is a young Bill Burr story. And he goes up there and he bombs. And he doesn't just bomb, he's lost the whole audience. And now the audience is more about entertaining themselves. That's what's going to be fun for tonight. We're going to rip on the comedians, and we're kind of a gang that these guys can't beat. And Bill Burr, young guy at the time, is like, I'm going to stick around because David Attell is next. And he is going to take care of this problem. And he wants to watch the mastery happen. So Attell goes up there and the audience tries the same thing with him. And he picks out like the most vocal, biggest problem guy and starts weaving this tale about how that guy in the audience is his dad, that he was a Navy SEAL who fucked Dave Attell's mom, and this is the way it went, and something like that. And he's like, you're just doing this, Dad, because of that. And the whole audience turns. Now they're on David Attell's side. They love the story that he weaved, and I liked it. Like, I respected it because so many comedians think they're so clever. But what do? They throw out a stock line they use in every fucking city to every heckler everywhere. And they have the mic, and they think that the audience is laughing at their brilliance, but really they were just kind of on their side in the first place. They can hear the comedian do it better. The comedian thinks that he's beating this guy in the audience. Probably that's often true, but really all they have to say is I fucked your mom, and the crowd goes wild, and it's an easy win. He didn't go that way. Yeah. He made up a story on the spot, and he weaved it, and he won the audience over, kind of like Bill Burr did later with his famous Philadelphia rant about the sports team and stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I like
one bridge, Haven City. Yeah.
There are 3 bridges in Philly. I went to college.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, anyway. And I was like, I bet Dave Attell has the respect of the other comedians.
Unquestionably.
He doesn't have like Rogan like money, for example.
I don't know if you guys have heard of Pat Cooper. He was a very old comedian. I just checked. He died in 2023, born in 1929. And like, if you listen to old Opie and Anthony, there was there were very few comedians that went in there with Patrice and like would kind of run him around. Colin Quinn was one of them, but Pat Cooper was another that went in there. And at the time when he went in, like, he was like in his 80s or something. And Patrice was like showing a lot of reverence for him and trying to like really show how much he admired him. And like, so in his eagerness, he was like interrupting Pat sometimes. And like Pat, because he was born in the 20s and like hearkening back to his humor, which is very funny. He was like, I'm not used to a black guy interrupting me this much. You know what I'm used to? How about you get up on this table and tap dance for me? Huh? How about that? And like everybody was cracking up. And it was like, and he's like, Pat, I know you're an old man, but I'm just trying to get answers to these questions. And he's like, don't insult me. I'm sharper than you'll ever be. And like just being